hey, it was just another great game with San Francisco, man. They bring out the best in us, just the intensity of it, and you know, I'm just so impressed with how hard they play, and Chris has got them doing some great stuff offensively, so they're a tough guard for us, especially when they space the floor. They're really shooting the free ball tonight, doing a lot of different things to get those shots, but the guys did a great job adjusting, you know, especially in that second half. You know, they chose to not guard some of our guys, which some people have done in the past, and I thought Anton and Ben did just a fantastic job of handling that. And then we had 23 assists and 3 turnovers, which, I mean, I've been doing this 25 years, and we've never had a line like that at Gonzaga. So, I mean, that's primarily these 2 guards up here. So, great job. It's great to be moving on and playing in the championship with another great team. But, man, San Francisco just seems like an NCAA tournament team to me. I wish their analytics were better or whatever, because they've been a tough out for us. A lot of respect.
We do have a mic holder, so please raise your hand if you have a question. Questions for Ryan, Ben, or Nolan?
Yeah, for Benny, kind of a tough shooting half for you in the first half. How'd you turn it around? What was going through your head early in the second?
Me and Travis Knight watched a show called Ted Lasso. And the big thing is called we got to be a goldfish, not a short memory. And that's what he told me, and I was like, yeah, you're right. You got to forget about having the first half and come out and keep shooting my shot. I know it's going to go in. I worked so hard on it. And these guys gave me all the confidence in the world and tell me to keep on shooting it. So kept letting it fly and finally made a couple. It's a good feeling.
Question in the back over there.
For the 2 guards, when Ben or anyone is on such a flurry like that, how much is it enjoying getting it to them and letting them go for a heat check?
Man, it's always, man, Benny gets us going with no matter what he do. I feel like even on the defensive end, rebound and whatever it is, he do all the dirty work. I ain't gonna lie. So just to get him going with the 3 ball, I love it. I love it. That's all that is. I love it.
Another question in the back.
Nolan, where do you think you've seen Ben grow the most this year?
Man, in all aspects of his game, I've seen Ben grow. Ever since I got here, I've been seeing Benny grow, putting in the work, off hours, everything. I've been seeing Benny grow ever since I've been here. I ain't gonna lie. So.
It was kind of tough shooting first half. How are you able to kind of steady the team and provide some offense in that half when it was a little choppy?
Just keep trying to be aggressive, keep trying to get our flow going, and I feel like we just missed a couple bunnies in the first half, easy ones around the rim, and we knew they were gonna fall eventually, so we just kept chopping wood, kept doing what we do, and eventually they fell. So.
Nolan, you got St. Mary's again on Tuesday night. You've played them twice this year. You seem like you play them 3 times every year.
Yeah.
Just talk about the matchup and how excited you are to be back in the championship game.
I'm super excited, blessed first and foremost. It's always fun playing against these guys. It's always a war. We know that going into it, it's never going to be like a days ago or nothing. It's always going to be a bar fight, what Coach likes to say. But we know that going into it. And, I think my guys, we're ready for it.
For Ryan, they were dedicating a lot of defensive attention to Graham, obviously. How did you guys navigate that and get the offense going?
I just feel like we got a bunch of good players that know how to hoop, man. If one guy has an off night, other guys will pick him up, and we know how great G is and how great he's been playing recently. So we just missed a couple plays around the rim tonight.
Any other questions for the student athletes? Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Question for Coach Beard? Here in the middle.
What did you learn about your team early this season that was paying off right now and why they're playing so long?
What did I learn, or what?
Yeah, they got to kind of a slow start, and now you guys are hot again.
Yeah, we played in Maui. It's probably the toughest Maui field it's been assembled, probably one of the greatest MTEs that's ever been assembled. So we went out and played some guys, and you play Purdue, you play UConn, you play teams like that, maybe you get exposed a little bit, you know, and so I think we were still trying things, like with anything, you think what might work, and then when it doesn't work, you have to get back and make adjustments, and obviously we did that, and I think, you know, I think that was a little bit underrated was just how much, a lot of change, you know. I mean, we lost an icon of a player in Drew Timme, and in more ways than one, just his swag that he had, you know, kind of carried us through a lot of moments, and so we had to figure out ways, not only offensively, defensively, but, you know, Ryan hadn't played with Ben and hadn't played with Nolan and certainly hadn't played with Graham Ike, and I think Ryan and Graham now are really very much in sync, and those are the two guys we primarily have in a lot of ball screens, so figured out some defensive things that we'd be more successful at. I mean, that's kind of what happens during the season, you know, that's why you practice.
Question from Theo, Fred.
I think Ben missed his first 4 shots, but I think in the first half he still had 8 rebounds. What does it say that he's kind of finding ways to contribute when the offense isn't always coming?
Well, you know that, man. I mean, he's our Mr. Zag. I mean, he just flies around and the guys feed off him, and he just does all those little things, and you know, his positive energy is palpable, and we really truly feed off that. So it doesn't really matter if he's making shots or not, you know, that's kind of, as I was telling him, that's just his job to bring that, so, but we encourage him. I mean, Ben's a great shooter, you know, for them to play off him is, I don't know, reckless. So, that's what I told him, like, just, you know, the same with Anton's shooting over 40 from 3, so, you know, but sometimes it's hard when a guy's like insulting you. It kind of messes with your rhythm and messes with your, should I shoot, should I drive? I thought Anton did a great mix of driving some and shooting some, and he's seen that a bunch. You know, we've seen that, you know, all the way back to a few years ago when we played Purdue in the PK 85. So he's well prepared for it. So.
Question in the back right.
Mark, going along those lines, when Ben had his big run, did you get any flashbacks, especially here in Vegas, to Killian when he was here and the games he was able to have here in Vegas?
I did not. I don't really have flashbacks to the games, which is probably a good thing. But those were great memories. I mean, Killian was on just a crazy roll down here. I don't know what, I think he made 13 in a row or something. I mean, it's just uncanny. So. But I did not, no, didn't flash back to that. I was mad at Ben for turning down a couple of his, you know, wide open looks. And just, you know, I always teach him just let it rip, and the next one's always going in.
We'll go to the back left with a question.
Coach, you mentioned San Francisco bringing out the best in you. It seemed like St. Mary's, when you played them last, really was kind of one of your best performances of the year. Is that another team that kind of brings forth a good performance?
Oh, hey, these are good teams, man. I mean, I told Chris after the game, I just feel like they're an NCAA tournament team. They have a lot of weapons, and they're well coached. And you do one thing, they adjust, and they got shooters, they got Mogbo, they got, you know, this is the first time I think we beat them on the glass. And obviously, I mean, St. Mary's and Randy, I mean, this is gonna be a totally different game. You know, it'll be a much more low possession game. Even though last time we played them, we were able to get some turnover and get out and run, and got the tempo going a little bit to our liking. But you know, the one in Spokane was a little bit slower, but I mean, I think we led that one for quite a while and just didn't finish it off. So they're a great team. He's an awesome coach, and I'm sure it'll be. I know this will be extremely, extremely physical. It's always a very, very, very physical game.
Next question here in the middle.
Coach, you talked about Nolan's growth, just maybe bouncing back from a rough first half, but just as a leader, you know, you talked about most of the new faces. How much of a leader has he been, especially for some of the younger guys, just based on his past mistakes?
No, that's a great call. I'm hearing his voice more and more, you know, and you just hear, you know, when they're walking out of the locker room, I'll hear his voice, or at practice, I'll hear his voice, and we're kind of lolling around or whatever, and so I mean, that kind of triggers that, hey, you know, we're gaining some ground here with him. And again, I don't think he was great in the first half today either. I don't know the stats, but he got going again today. I was calling his number, you know, almost exclusively the first 10 minutes of that second half. So, and he made the right basketball play. He hit a shot, hit a runner, had 2 dump downs to Anton, and so, I mean, there's some growth there instead of just thinking it's time to shoot every time, you know. So, yeah, no, those are the moments that make you proud as a coach, and I think he's very much stepped it up in a variety of ways.
Question over here on the right.
Coach, I know it wasn't his biggest scoring game, but Graham EK, you just talk about what he's meant to the team and just how he's been able to kind of, you know, build and grow as a guy that came in with so much experience.
Yeah, no, it wasn't, but obviously they, you know, as Jim alluded to, I mean, they were, you know, hell bent on, you know, doubling down on him and doing all kinds of things, and I thought he handled it well. He trusted his teammates. Yeah, he's been huge. I mean, for us to work and function, we always have to have that inside guy that can score. And then what really helps us is when the inside guy's so good, if he requires double teams, and that creates action for everybody else. You know, we had the greatest guy in college basketball doing that for a while, and so we need somebody to step in here and do that. And I think he's done it in his own way, very different way than Drew, but he slowly kind of just figured it out, and the guys have figured it out. He's became very, 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 very good in there.
Any final question for Coach Few? Thanks, Coach.